Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do,
Just what to do, just what to do.
if what you're feeling is really true,
Is really true, is it really true?
just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show on Hamilton Radio. Guys, everyone and anyone who knows me knows I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass, guys, because 32 years ago, I was a dumbass. But 32 years later, through the grace of God, I can honestly say now, I'm a smartass. And yes, the word ass is in the Bible at least 40 times, and it means donkey, and that's what I was. Guys, I'm saying that to say this. We've all had the roughest few years of our lives, right? Not just here, all over the world. And unfortunately, we've lost some people to health issues and to addiction issues, including myself, family members, and friends. And I want everyone out there to know you have someone you can talk to. I am a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach. All my services to you are free. Please, please reach out so you know you're not alone, okay? If anyone thinks my book can help them, which I do, you can go to Simon & Schuster's bookstore, Archway Publishing. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, BAM, it's everywhere. You can go to my website, www.geripetito.com. All my pages are there. You can get the book from there as well. And please subscribe to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel. We've got some really cool things happening. Guys, I have a returning guest who I consider family to me. Him and his wife I just absolutely love, okay? For so many reasons, and we'll probably touch base on some of them today. But he is back here on my show, and we've got so much incredible stuff to talk about, his awards, things that are coming up. I am so honored once again. Michael Wayne Dill, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Wayne Dill.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So, you know, there's so much going on in your life these days.
Quite a bit. Quite a bit.
So,
Despite all the sickness and stuff going around everywhere,
crazy.
still a lot of that going around.
Right? Crazy.
I've managed, everybody in my family seems to have gotten the flu or something, and I've managed to dodge it. Well, actually, Angie and I both, but there was one time, it was a few months back that we actually got the COVID, and it affected our taste and stuff like that. You know, a lot of people have different, things that happen, but taste was one of them. And I love food. So that was a literal going through hell experience. Because everything tasted bad.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny.
Anyways, that's over with, thank goodness. But I've been managing to do well. Had a good year despite the fact. And we got a big year coming. So there's a lot to talk about today.
So, for people that have never really heard our interviews together, I want to talk about what's happening now, and then we'll go back in time a little bit. So,
Sure.
Tell us all. Come on.
All right. Well, currently I am in support of my, it just came out, I think it was September, actually this past November 26th was the release date for my number 7 album, right here. And you can go onto any of the music platforms, any of them. I mean, there's so many nowadays. Have you ever actually looked? There's like Dweezer. Have you ever heard of Dweezer? No. Oh my gosh, there's like Amazon Music. There's so many music platforms, but you go to any of them and look under Michael Wayne Dill, and you'll see that this is my latest release. It's number 7, appropriately named because it's my 7th album. So I was like, well, what better name than 7? It's a number
I love
of
that. Wait, that's my favorite number. My birthday's March 7th, just saying.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. There we go. We have another tie to tie us together, Jersey girl.
Okay.
but yeah, so everything I'm doing is in support of this. I think I've got a total of. I just got another 100 copies in. We went through 100 copies, so now we got 100 more to go with. So you can get them on my website. Go to to mwdcountrymusic.com and catch all of my latest music videos and stuff like that there. But if you're interested in getting a copy, you can get one there. But that's what I'm supporting right now, anyways. But I've got a bunch of duets coming out. That is gonna be super special in itself, because there's some amazing artists just in my local vicinity that are making waves elsewhere. There's a girl who lives here locally that I'm gonna be doing a duet. She's doing a Stevie Nicks tribute, and she actually got signed to a major label.
Wait,
They're
what's
called
her name? What's her name?
Breaking the Chains. Her name is Desiree. What is her last? Lorraine. Desiree Lorraine is her name.
I love
She does
that.
the best impersonation of Stevie Nicks. So
Hook
she
us
got
up.
together and did a
Hook us up.
Yeah, definitely. I will get you in touch with them. And in fact, need to get you to do an interview. Oh, she's awesome. But especially, I want to get this duet out there too. Maybe we can help support that too. So that'll be a good thing to do. But a lot of things happening.
So, all right. Now, you know what I want to do? I want to play one of your songs. Let's do that first, because Doc G, my producer's back here, hit us up with one of his songs, because I want to talk about the song he's playing, and then we'll get into everything else. There's so much to talk about with you today.
You called me on the phone to say you're sure that he don't love you, but should it matter anyway? Despite your sexy dress and heels, his disregard makes you feel so unwanted and alone. So girl, what about me? Are you too blind to see? Are you leading me on? Are you ever gonna leave here? 'Cause so many times we make love, you say I love you, boy, and you touch my soul to the bone. Girl, am I wrong? Girl, it makes no sense to stay where you'll never get your way, and know his money won't buy your happiness. 'Cause you deserve so much more, so please just close this door of insanity. Girl, what about me? Are you too blind to see? Are you leading me on? Are you ever gonna leave here? 'Cause so many times we make love, you say I love you, boy, and you touch my soul to the bone. Girl, am I wrong? Tell me you're not the only one staring down the barrel of this gun with my heart exposed. What about me? You too blind to see? Are you leading me on? Are you ever gonna leave here? So many times we make love, you say I love you, boy, and you touch my soul to the bone. Girl, am I wrong? Oh no. Girl, am I wrong?
I love it, I love it, I love it.
Thank you so much.
So tell us about this song.
Well, this song is actually a true song, believe it or not.
Okay.
This a co-writing friend of mine. He's actually a close friend of mine. We're not like super close, but we met right out of high school back in '87. The girlfriend that I ended up with at the time, actually, she became my first wife. Her dad raised him. His name's Ricky Kidd. He co-wrote this song with me. But anyways, his dad kind of, my ex-father-in-law kind of raised him because his dad was a full-blown alcoholic and was kind of abusive. So he had a rough childhood growing up. But anyways, long story short, he ends up falling for this girl who they worked together at wherever it was they were working at the time, back in his younger years. And she ended up being married, but she was in an abusive relationship. And she kept saying, well, I'm going to leave him. I'm going to leave him. Then her and Ricky got close, and then he fell in love with her. And so basically, and then the sad part is she ended up not leaving. She goes, I'm just going to stay with him and work it out. And she broke it off with Ricky, and he was all brokenhearted for years. I mean, he hurt over this situation for like a year and a half, 2 years, because I remember back when he was going through it years ago. And but anyways, long story short, she ended up leaving the guy anyways, divorced him, and then Ricky didn't want her back. So it just ended up being a totally demolished relationship. But of course, a lesson learned out of it. But he came to me, I'd always knew it was something we could write about, but I knew he wasn't ready for it. But he just came to me out the blue, probably about a year and a half ago, said, I'm ready to write about that. So, and then that's how that story came about. Am I wrong?
So that song is a song of healing for so many people in abusive relationships.
Sure.
That's beautiful. So, okay, wow, okay. So now, for everyone out there that doesn't really know your story through me anyway, let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about everything that went on in your career from the beginning. Make it as long or brief as you want, but with your awards,
Sure.
with the Josie thing, I mean, everything. Come on.
All right, let's do it. All right, well, I guess it kind of started with the Josies anyways. The very first time that I was acquainted to the Josies was whenever I was doing a project with Mr. Dennis Scott.
Yep.
You did an interview not too terribly long ago with us both. But anyways, we did a project called Wild and Free. And it was a 6-song EP. I think Dennis put in 3 songs, actually 2 songs, and I put in the other 4. And but it was weird because he wanted to do more, rock oriented stuff. And at the time I was pursuing country, and then all of a sudden he flipped and he goes, well, I'll tell you what, I'm thinking about doing country too. And that's when we decided, well, let's just do a project together. How many songs do you have? And so we ended up doing this project with a local producer by the name of Robbie Heiner. And so we went into the studio and did the 6 songs. Actually, we did 2 songs in the studio. The other 4 I had already done, and all I did was just took my stems or my stems being tracks of my 4 songs and just gave them to the engineer, and he just mixed them. We didn't have to do anything extra to them. He just mixed them in the studio. But I was like, Dennis, there's this thing called the Josie Music Awards. I said, you want to just try to throw it in there? We got a couple more weeks left. At that time, we were waiting to the last minute, And so he's like, yeah, let's give it a try. So I did. I turned in. Then I think you and I had already done met, and we'd already talked a little bit. But we ended up going to the award show. Not expecting to win anything. Because we figured this is our first time in. We're green as green can get. We're not going to win nothing. But we did end up nominating, which was a great thing because I think that year was 35,000 entries. So I mean that's a lot of people, and then you get nominated. I think we were one of 15 other people. So, I mean, that's saying a lot in itself, So we were really humbled by that experience. And then I was sitting there with him. We were both said, okay, this is our category, but, we're not going to win, but so what? It was the experience we was here for. And then all of a sudden, our song started playing. I was like, we both turned and looked at each other like, oh, my gosh. We sat there. It felt like an hour going, is this really us? And we finally get up. We walk down, get the award. Of course, I have everything planned that I'm going to say, because you're walking up there, you're scared, you're nervous. I'm like, all right, I know exactly what I'm going to say. Dennis gets up there first, and he says something that just throws me completely off. He goes, oh, we can't believe we won. And then this guy. And then he turns to me and I'm like, I can't remember a word, a thing that I had already rehearsed in my mind. I'm like, just blank, just looking like a dummy up on the stage. But I muffled my way through it somehow or another, and we accepted the award. And then I went back to the seat. The first thing I did was call you.
I remember
And
that.
you were
Like it was yesterday.
yes. The first thing I was like, I got to tell somebody. I said, I got to tell Geri. She's going to be so surprised. So I called you right in the middle of the show, and you were like, well, get back to the show. But it was a very humbling experience, but wow, it was something just phenomenal. It was the first time I'd experienced something that great, but especially to that level, because if you think about it, and statistics prove that the Josies is the biggest award show for independent artists. I mean, that's across the world. I think last year, every year it gets bigger and bigger. I think the second year, Dennis and I was like, Dennis, you want to do another project? And Dennis was like, no, I kind of want to go. I want to do the rock thing again. So he kind of went and did his own thing. So I was like, all right, well, I'll continue doing my thing. So I did the Georgia project, and I did it and submitted that the next year and won with that. I was like, wow, I'm just having a lot of luck.
Wait. You're going too fast for me, baby. All right, so the Josie. First, I want to say something about that first, then we're going to talk about the Georgia project. Okay.
Sure.
So there are a lot of people that are going to be watching this interview who are just starting out in the music industry, okay?
Right.
A lot of them probably think, wow, that can't happen to me. Tell them why it can.
I'll tell you exactly why it could happen, because that's exactly what we were thinking when we submitted the music. But you know what? It's not. Fear is nothing but an obstacle that you have to learn to. It's going to be there regardless. You're always going to have the what ifs. They're always going to be there, but you have to step through it, because you never know when it's going to be your opportunity. That one time you decide not to do it, it was probably that one time that it was going to happen for you. And that was one of these circumstances. We were just like, yeah, let's just do it. We're not going to get anything, but so what? Let's experience it. And then look what happened, because, I mean, you just never know when it's going to be your turn. So you can't let things stop you and just give up.
So when you won that, okay, what was the feedback coming at you from all ends?
Oh, my God. Well, locally, you know how it's always, and, and I'm sure you have a local niche or whatever it is there. You always have those people that are like, get jealous, and they get bent sideways, because you saw a little bit of success, then they're going to attack you from the negative angle. But that's, we're going to have that in every society. It doesn't matter whether you're going to work or whether you're doing music, or just, you're going to have those kind of people, So, I mean, but I ran across those, and I found out who my true friends were. You're going to, and when you go through those type things and you start to experience some sort of success, you're going to find out who your true friends are. But don't ever let that discourage. There's so many things that can come into play, and I think that's kind of the point you were trying to make. What kind of things, what feedback was the kind of stuff I was getting.
So hold that thought. Wait, hold that thought.
Yep.
Because I want to piggyback off of something you just said that's important. You're going to get negative and positive, guys. And
right.
Listen carefully. I remember even, I think it was Elvis that put out some quote about it as well. Not everyone's going to like you, okay? But that's okay, because all right, I'm just going to say it. Those people are probably just jealous of the accomplishments you've made. So I would take that as a little bit of a compliment. Because
Sure.
Mae West once said, guys, and look her up if you don't know who she is, I'd rather be looked over, honey, than overlooked. And I've lived by that my whole life. So, Michael, the negative, the positive, all that stuff, right? But the main thing is, this award, what it did to you guys. I mean, it showed you're right up there, okay?
Exactly. Yes.
Yep. So now continue.
And another example of what you just said, last year, I'll give you for instance. Last year, I submitted a small album and a full album, And the only reason why I did that was because the small album was intended to be a project with a songwriter in Georgia. And we were just doing it amongst ourselves. We weren't even going to submit it, but we decided to do it at the last minute.
Okay.
But I'd had so much success with the 2 EPs, you know, the Wild and Free with Dennis had one. Then I turned around and won with the EP, which, just in case you don't know, an EP is 6 songs or less. And then you've got anything more than 6 songs considered an album, a full album, or an LP or whatever.
Okay.
I'd already done 2 years, you know, with an EP. So I was like, well, this year I'm gonna do a full album. So I did 11 songs. It was called Can't Slow Down album. And I got that wrapped up, and I submitted it first. I was like, I'm gonna go for the full album this time. And then at the last minute, my buddy in Georgia goes, well, let's go ahead and submit the small one too, because you won't be competing against it, you know, because that's full album and then a small album. So I'm like, okay, that would be cool. And then I was thinking in my mind, I said, it would be cool if I won both categories, you know, full album and then small album. But you know what's funny? I submitted the album and it didn't even nominate. The only one that nominated was one we decided to do at the last minute, the small little Georgia album that I did with the guy in Georgia, a little 6-song. So from that moment, I was like, you know what, from now I'm just going to do 6-song EPs and that's it, because that's where my luck's at.
Oh.
But anyways, that's a shining example of, you know, I submitted 11 songs that they just didn't care for some reason. You know, they didn't even get nominated, and that's fine. But it could have been in that category where 15 other people who had better albums. You know, you just never know what they're going to be looking for. But I didn't give up. You know, so submit it. The whole goal behind it is don't let nothing stop you, because you don't know when it's going to be your time, and they may not like it. They may not. Doesn't matter. Some people like you. Some people don't.
That's right.
You know, it is what it is, but don't not do it because you think they're not going to like it.
So, okay, so now the Josie Award, and then the next one, what was that one?
Yeah, that same, you're talking about last year?
Yep.
So I didn't even nominate with the full album, but I did nominate with the EP, you know, the little 6-song one that I did with, it was called Wanna Be Famous.
Okay.
It had, it was probably the most country that I've ever done, you know, because it had fiddles, it had steel, you know, and maybe that's what they were looking for, because they loved it.
Okay.
You know, they nailed it, and I think we barely got beat out. I think I can't remember even who it was. I don't think they even posted who the winners were last year, but we still nominated, which I think last year was a total of 50 something thousand entries, and each year just gets more and more. So I mean, this year it's liable to be 70 something thousand, but number 7's going in this year, so we'll see.
But wait, what was that award again? What was that?
That was for Country EP of the Year.
Okay, Country EP of the Year.
So Country Album of the Year, more or less.
Gotcha.
But it's an EP album. And but I nominated, didn't win, but I did win. And I wasn't expecting to win at all. I thought I'd done lost, you know. And then all of a sudden I get an email 6 weeks later from the Josies saying, well, you won a songwriter's achievement. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's still a lot right there. So it was a song that I wrote. It was called Truth. It's called I Give My Life for, I think, to do for you. It was a song that I wrote for it was my wife's youngest son. He had just had a baby, and it was so cute to see him hold his baby, because he goes, I just feel like I'm going to break him, you know? So, you know, and I was like, it's tough being a dad. And they had a picture. They took a picture of him sitting there holding him, and that song hit me, Truth, you know? And so I wrote it down real quick, did a demo, sent it in to the Josies, and the Josies said, this is going to be a hit. So they called it a Songwriter Achievement of the Year. So I ended up winning that one. Didn't think I won anything. So there's another prime example of last minute stuff that I do, but it is what it is. I'm glad people are loving it.
So now, in between that and now,
Right.
fill us in a little bit on what went on then.
Okay. Well, let's see. After that, after we submitted everything and we were gonna go, and we ended up not going to the last minute because I had something that was going on with work, so I wasn't able to go to the show this past year. So my cousin and my aunt both went, and they got to meet. There was a ton of people there, and we were like, God, I wish we had gone. We could have met so many people, but. So it's nice to be able to go to these shows, even if you don't think you're going to nominate or win. We're for sure going to go this year, so we're already looking to get the tickets, looking for a place to stay. But since then, what's been happening now is I've been my playing out live stuff is just growing like rabid. Like last year, I think I played maybe 15 shows for the whole year, 15, maybe 20 tops. And already I think we were only like 3 weeks into the year, and we're over 30 something bookings for this year so far. And we haven't even got into the festivals yet. So things are picking up. Things are looking good as far as getting out there and supporting the album in a live way, And the live shows are awesome because you get to meet so many people. And after the show, you hear people say, oh my God, I love that song so much, But I found out, I was playing at an American Legion, and some couple had bought my album and loved the song and came because they heard I was playing there.
See that?
So those type things are starting to happen now for me, and that's just awesome. It makes you feel good, when
That's
you hear somebody say, "Man, this
amazing,
song meant so
Michael.
much." I know. See, those kind of things are starting to happen, and that's what I love about this, this whole music biz, I mean, nothing touches a songwriter more than you to come up to them and say, man, your song helped me get through some really bad times, So I've had people say they were one step away from suicide, and it's like that song just kept them from doing it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad to meet you,
Yep.
So those type things that just make it all worthwhile,
I have a question for you. So about how many songs have you written?
Oh gosh, somebody asked me that the other day, and I purposely was going to go and try to figure that out. I wished I had it now. But if you think about just in collection, I probably have the 7 albums, just say 642, probably 50, 60 something songs just on albums already recorded. And then I'm getting ready to do, I've got probably 12 songs already ready for another album. They come to me in spurts. You know how it is. When you get the inspiration to write, you're a writer, you know how it goes. You just start writing, and then next thing you know, you've got 20 something songs sitting in front of you. But I've already got enough stuff to make another full album. But I swear I'm not going to go full album. I'm not going to. I just have more luck.
You're
with
so
6. I'm
funny.
just going to keep putting out 6 songs.
Right, why not, right?
Why not? Nowadays, the music biz, these guys, they throw out 1, 2, 3 songs, and then they'll throw out a 6th song saying, all right, here's 3 more to add to it, and that's mostly how the music biz is now anyway. So, you don't see albums that often anymore other than from the huge artists,
I
they
love
might do.
that.
But yeah, so far we're having a great year. We're off to a great start.
So any more nominations, anything going on?
Well, you know what? The first time, what was it called? I think it's called the Red Carpet Awards over in Holland, over in Europe.
Oh my gosh.
Have you heard of that?
Listen, not in Holland, but I've been there. I loved Holland. Go ahead.
But anyways, it's a new type independent show. I think they're maybe 3 or 4 years into it now. I just submitted a boatload of songs to them. It was like 7 different nominations I got out of it. But we won't find out until August. So that's when we find out who wins any of that. But I'm hoping for a good return out of that. So.
And will you have to go to Holland? Will you have to go if you win?
What? You know what? I guess you can, but I don't think I want to chance that.
Oh man.
I'm not a big flyer kind of person.
Oh, okay.
I remember I flew in an airplane once when I was in high school, when I was with a youth group in the church, and we flew to Dallas, and then we flew from Dallas to California. We made it our summer trip was the California trip. And I was so scared. Oh my gosh. I couldn't believe that I actually did that, but that was years ago, and just the thought of being up in the air.
I wish I could go to Holland for you, okay? Because I love
could.
traveling. So why don't we play?
I would love to go visit.
So why don't we play? So wait, how many songs did we already play? We played 2 or 1?
Yeah, we've got 3 total. You've only played 1.
All right, so let's play the second one, Gino. Yep. Okay.
And everything about last night still running through my mind. Maybe just giving up would be the peace we're trying to find. And even though I don't want you to, I know you're gonna walk away. Don't be surprised I don't follow. This can't go on another day. I don't know why loving you's got to be so damn hard. All the lies and disregard. I know you're gonna cry and pretend to be so blue. Maybe be faithful a day or two, but I'll no longer be your fool. Sometimes I swear the devil would be easier to fight. Hell, I'd even fight Dracula and all the creatures of the night. Can't you understand the heartache just ain't worth fighting for? So if you don't mind, just get your things and fly your broomstick out the door. I don't know why loving you's got to be so damn hard. All the lies and disregard. I know you're gonna cry and pretend to be so blue. Maybe be faithful a day or two, but I'll no longer be your fool. Should it be easy just to take it back again? What does that gain me but another bitter end? I don't know why loving you's got to be so damn hard. All the lies and disregard. I know you're gonna cry and pretend to be so blue. Maybe be faithful a day or two, but I'll no longer be your fool.
Amazing, amazing. Let's talk about this song.
All right, when you listen to that song, what kind of music do you think of? What band do you think of when you hear that song?
Okay, so let me think about that for 1 second.
All those stops and starts
I mean,
kind of sounds
um,
maybe Joe Walsh, you know, the Eagles,
well, maybe Kansas.
even Kansas. There
Okay.
you go. That's another shining example.
Yeah.
But in fact, Kansas was a very big influence on me as well. But the Eagles, especially,
Okay.
were a huge influence on my songwriting. You know,
Okay.
through the years. Eagles, Def Leppard, Kansas,
Yeah.
any of those bands that had a lot of harmonies, and and they liked to have those guitar parts where they'd stop and start, But especially the Eagles, because if you listen to Joe Walsh, remember that song? We actually did it with the Eagles too. In the city, ooh, ooh. Anyways, it has those stops and starts and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I've got to do a song where I can pay, tribute to the Eagles. So that was kind of like my song. Now, as far as the subject matter, it's just a song where, this relationship finally reached its expiration. These two people, it's done got toxic, and he's like, he just can't stand her anymore. She can't stand him, vice versa. So he refers to it as, you know, and we've all been here. We've all been here at some point in time with somebody in our past. But I went through two horrible relationships, and so it was, you know, that's what made this song so easy to write. You know, so I was like, you know, I'd rather fight Satan, or I'd rather fight Dracula and all the evil creatures of the night. So get on your broomstick and fly on out of here. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what I wanted to, you know, musically, I wanted to pay tribute to the Eagles, but, you know, I wanted to talk about something we all can, you know, associate with, and we can all say, I've been there, done that before, you know. So it's just a fun song at the same time. But I think it's so far, it's, you know, if you look at streams, I'd say it was probably the second highest. It started off being the highest, and then, I think "Am I Wrong" is quickly climbing up. But stream wise, it did really well for the first release. You know, so it's just a great fun song, and people love it live. Especially when I get to that part where I'd rather fight Dracula, and people's in the broomstick, you can just see them snickering. You know, but it's just a great song. It's a fun song.
So I have a question. So I don't want to say the majority, but a lot of songs, they're all about relationships, good, bad, or indifferent.
That is so true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've heard the funny thing about country songs, if you play them backwards, you get back the house, the kid, the car, the girl, the guy, right? Okay?
Right.
So when you
So
write
funny.
music, are you in that mindset of that country style, or do you go out of the box with whatever you need to do and make it a country song?
No, because there's some songs that I don't even put on the album because I don't feel like they belong to me. So they'll sit on the back burner, or I'll purposely change it to where it will adapt to me or something like that. But yeah, you know, when you're writing, for me, I hear the music first. And then if I can identify it with it personally, then it becomes country, because that's what I am.
Yep.
You know, but there's some stuff that I hear and I'll pass on to other people, say, what do you get out of it? Next thing you know, it turns into a pop song or a rock song or something like that. But if it has anything to do with me, or if I can pull some sort of, you know, subject line out of it, it's going to be country.
That's
It might
fine.
be a rockier side of country,
Okay.
but it's going to be country.
Okay.
And it's going to talk about love, or you know, something to that effect. Because it's
Heartache.
just, yeah, that's what it's that's what we all
Dracula.
go through. Exactly right. Exactly.
So, all right. So now, I want to play the third song, but before we do that, you know what it's going to be, and you wanted to save this one for last. I want to talk
Yes.
about it first. Let's
Yes,
talk
let's
about
do
it.
All right, this song, the subject line is addiction, just plain out addiction, and it has to do with, of course, there's many types of addictions, but this one is more surrounding alcohol and drug addiction. Um, and the reason being is because it was co-written with a cousin of mine who it's funny because I always thought I was the oldest of all the cousins, you know, of all the grandkids, but I'm not. It ends up being Brycey, or we call him Floyd. He also goes by Floyd. He was the oldest because his mom had him when she was only like, I think she was 14. I mean, she was really young. Of course, you know, back then, you know, wasn't really uncommon for, you know, kids that age, you know, to have kids, you know, getting married early, especially a little bit earlier than them. But anyways, so he's like, I don't know, 10 years old, 12 years older than I am. So he got to grow up with my dad. So he kind of grew up with them. But long story short, he had the same things that I did. His dad was a guitar player. In fact, his dad played with Loretta Lynn. He was a
Okay.
very well-known acoustic player in Nashville. So it kind of helped Brycey get in the door, and he actually got in with a band. It was four of them. They formed a band. They got signed. They were really good. I mean, he had everything going for him. And then all of a sudden, you know, that touring, he started touring,
Okay.
gotten into the alcohol and then drugs. And within 2 years, he drank it away. You know, everything that he, you know, made went into drugs and alcohol, and he lost everything. he had, so because of alcohol, he lost his dream. Even after that, he was like a road manager for, I think it was Rodriguez, and it was somebody else. He did a little bit of road managing for, but the alcohol just ran over, it just ran his life, and he lost everything he ever dreamed of. And so, we decided on this album, it was like, well, are you ready to write about that? Do you really want to? And he's like, yeah, and the bad thing is, and you can attest to this yourself, you never outlive addiction. It's something that you fight on a daily basis, and they're like demons that just won't go away. And so that's how we got with the idea of just go away, leave me alone. And he goes, Mike, I'll tell you this. He goes, every day I go through this, and it'll hit me just out of the blue. In lunchtime, I want a taste of whiskey or beer or something. It just hit me. It just never leaves. He goes, but I'm going to escape it one day, because whenever I take my dirt nap and I leave this place and go to heaven, I'll finally have victory over it. But that's the truth of the matter, is some addictions you can't, and people don't understand that.
Well, wait, I want to touch on that, and there's a reason why. So my book talks the exact opposite of what you just said. Not that what you said isn't accurate for the majority of addicts. It is.
Right.
There's a reason why, Michael. If you could talk to him, I'll even talk to him. Okay? I have not had even a thought of drugs in 30 years. My first year and a half was the only rough time until I changed everything about my life, all sugar out of my life. Okay? That's the biggest culprit. So I'm a vegan, nutritional health coach, so everything in my life is organic and all that, and my food is not processed. Everything is homemade.
Right.
These alcoholics and addicts are all still addicted to sugar. That's
so,
why.
Okay.
That is
Gotcha.
why. So now Google what I'm telling you, and I will talk
Right.
to him if you want, and I guarantee you he'll
Yeah,
say,
I
I
would.
am. So sugar, okay, our brain can't tell the difference between sugar and a drug. It thinks
That's
you're
true.
putting a drug in. So you're never detoxed, ever, as long as you still have sugar in your diet. Now, the problem with today's sugar, it's no longer sugar. It's high fructose corn syrup. Okay?
Right.
I went on a health tour in the 80s, and this was when I first started realizing what was going on in this country versus outside the country. I went to Russia in the 80s through Lenox Hill Hospital when it was still, and the wall was up, right, and all that. And I
Right.
went to Asia for a month. And I found out then they brought a McDonald's there. And all the Americans were like, we've got to go see this Asian McDonald's. My cousin gets a soda, takes a sip, and spits it out and says, something's wrong. I tasted it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, the tour guide cracked up laughing, and she said, girls, we were in our 20s. She said, if these companies, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, now even Starbucks, I went behind the scenes in Australia at a Starbucks, everything was organic. So anyway, she said, if they want to bring these products to our countries, they have to change the formulas. In our country, there's like 9 1/4 teaspoons of sugar in 1 can of Coke. Over there, 1 teaspoon of real sugar in a can
Wow.
of Coke. So talk to him about that. I'm here for you
Yeah.
guys, and that's the problem because of the sugar. And what do they give them in rehabs? Sugar. Anything you want. There's machines. Have
That's
cupcakes.
true.
They keep
That's
them.
true.
They keep them addicts.
Right.
Okay, so that's what's heartbreaking.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, all right, so you know what we'll do? Let's play the song, then we'll talk about the song more, and then I'll read a poem out of my book. Okay?
Let's do
I'm
it.
going to read a different poem out of my book than what I thought I was going to based on this conversation. Gino,
Okay, good.
let's play that last song.
It's been 30 years today. Lord, I wish that I could say the demons have all gone away. The truth is just the other night I woke up to another fight. All I wanted so bad was to take a sip. It's more than just giving in, and I need you to understand these demons that I have, they never quit. You haunt me in company when I'm alone, even in my sleep. I pray to God at night each and every day. If they go away, they go away. I wake up every day to my lover's smiling face. I thank God for her, she saved my life. So much more she deserves, the way that I get on her nerves. It's God's grace that keeps her hanging on, yeah. It's more than just giving in, and I need you to understand these demons that I have, they never quit. They haunt me in company when I'm alone, even in my sleep. I pray to God at night each and every day. If they go away, these demons may not quit till I'm in the grave. But by your grace and your son's blood, from my sins I've been saved. Yeah. It's more than just giving in. I need you to understand these demons that I have, they never quit. They haunt me in company when I'm alone, even in my sleep. I pray to God at night each and every day. If they go away, they go away.
Michael, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to share something with you before I read this poem. And I want addicts out there to know this. So when I first wrote my book, it was only about 100 pages in 2016. And then I had the opportunity to revise it. And now it's, like 240 pages. The main reason I wanted to revise this book was I found something out that I did not know when I wrote the first one. So, Bill W. Do you know who he is, Michael, from AA? He was the
I do
first
not.
founder. He's the first founder of AA.
Okay.
Okay?
Gotcha. Uh-huh.
So, and you, like I said, Google everything I'm telling you. I'm not telling you any opinions. Everything I'm telling you is out there, public knowledge. So he was suicidal, super depressed, okay, an alcoholic, and he was cured. He was cured by a friend of his who was a doctor. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think the doctor was from this country, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that one. So he put him on niacin. It's a vitamin, but pure niacin, the one that makes you sweat and purge and all that, just like a sauna.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
It cured him. It cured him.
Wow.
He approaches AA, and this is out there. Approaches AA at the time, and he says, we have to give all the addicts and alcoholics niacin and get them off of all sugar. They said, absolutely not. We're keeping them addicts. Shut up.
Are you serious?
Oh, no, I'm serious. That's in my,
Oh my
that's in my
God.
revised book. So it's become nothing but a business. We bring the drugs into the country. We do what we need to do. We don't want to keep the addicts clean and sober, because then we don't make money in this country. And that is the
I
truth.
can see that.
Okay? So the first lie they tell you is you have a disease and you have it forever. Okay? You have a dis-ease of the brain cells. And once you can reverse that, like I did, within a year to a year and a half, you will no longer have any cravings. Okay?
Wow.
And they won't tell you that. So what happened with me was when I found all this out, I wanted to make an impact. I have been told by several groups I cannot speak at their meetings because they will not
I
allow
can
me
see
to
that.
tell the
Yeah,
truth.
I
And
can
I'm
see
okay
that
with that.
happening. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So if everybody understands that, you don't have to struggle forever. It is not a disease. It's a disease of the brain cells that can be cured. It can be fixed. Now I'm going to share one more thing before I read this poem, and this will make sense, Michael. Things have to make sense to me, so I always try to figure things out with all this. Now I can prove to you what they're saying is a lie. On one hand, AA, NA, they teach that you have a disease forever. Okay, you're an addict for life. Okay. But then on the other hand, wait, a disease that you're powerless over. Okay?
Right.
They make you
Right.
come into the meetings and say, "Hi, I'm Jerry, I'm an addict, I'm powerless over my addiction." No, you're not. So, but hold that thought. On one hand, that's what they're teaching you. You're powerless over your disease of addiction. It's a disease. But then on the other hand, they're telling the family members to make that loved one hit rock bottom until they choose to get sober. So if your loved one truly has a disease that they're powerless over, you're going to kick them to the curb? I would kick them to the curb, but that's because they're not powerless over it. But they're teaching two opposite things here. So that in itself should teach you that what they're teaching is a lie. Okay? Because what they're really saying is kick that person you love to the curb until they choose, which means they can choose. Okay? So
Right.
now, I want to read one of my poems out of my book. Okay. Change your choice. I had a life-changing moment that I knew had to be. The only way to change things was to first start with me. So I looked in the mirror and woke up one day and thought to myself I needed to pray. So I asked God to change me, to help me stay strong, to clean up my mess, to right what's been wrong. I cleaned up my diet. I cleaned up my room. I cleaned up all habits with this old dirty broom. I kept going forward and never looked back. I refused to derail, stayed on the right track. I realized my worth and all that did matter through my selfish behavior, the lives I had shattered. I finally decided at 30 years old to stop abusing my body, my mind, heart, and soul. My life-changing choice that I had once made, going on 32 years now, guys, my debt has been paid. So you read all my thoughts on how to stay clean. It's all or nothing, my friend. There's no in between. To live or to die is a choice you must make. Your life is not worthless, and you're not a mistake. One day at a time is a slogan you've heard. It works if you work it while applying His word. For you to get healthy, for your mind not to fail, escaping reality will keep you in jail. With addictive behavior, sex, drugs, food, or money, substituting addictions, now isn't that funny? I'm not an addict, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Now, I want to piggyback that with a very short poem, and this is important. It's called Put Down the Gun, because that gun could be anything, a real gun, any drug of choice, alcohol, whatever it is, even food, right? Whatever it is you're
Yeah.
killing yourself with, okay? I had to have this purple gun just in case my life was done. I kept it safe, locked in my room, because I was filled with gloom and doom. Yes, there were times that I just knew if I loaded it up what I could do, but I kept on hearing that gentle voice, put down that gun, you have that choice. Life may seem hard at the end of the day. That's when you need to really pray. Dear Father, I beg you to show me the truth. How can life be so bad when I'm only a youth? Get rid of that gun and go take a shower. Ask someone for help. You do have that power. So, Michael, I want everybody listening, and I want you to even like get this message out there through everything you talk about with addiction and your music, right? That they're teaching lies. And if someone really dug deep into what they're teaching, they'll realize how much of lies it is based on the contradiction that goes on in what they're teaching. Okay? They can't possibly believe you have a disease that you're powerless over if they're willing to throw you out, hit rock bottom, right? Think about it. That's major. And unfortunately, Narcan, now they've got limits on that, and it's all about money. It's all about money. So now they have another drug that Narcan can't even touch. They came out with that on purpose. My friend's son just passed away in his 20s, left a little girl, okay, just a few months ago. They used Narcan on him a lot. Listen, he didn't want to live, obviously. He was a mess, but now the new drug that came out, Narcan can't touch. So who made that? We made it. So think about everything, right?
Wow. I came to teach you something. You taught me something.
Okay? You can teach me stuff. Everybody can teach me stuff. I love learning, you know? But
That is amazing.
yes, and it's the truth.
Love the poems.
Thank you, darling. So, what else would you like to tell everyone? What do you want to talk about?
Well, like I said, it's growing by the leaps and bounds as far as getting shows to do. So all I can say is that's going to probably just keep growing. But what I need people to do is to share my music. You don't have to necessarily like it personally. If you
But
don't
they
like
will
it,
love
that's
it.
fine.
They will love
But
it.
I'm sure they will. But if you don't like it personally, pass it on. There's somebody that will, you know. So I mean, if you're watching this and you're like, well, he's a new guy, and it's pretty good sounding stuff. Let somebody know about it. Share the YouTube thing, because there's a lot in this interview that just blew me away. Just hearing what you've got to do, because I know I'm gonna listen back to it. So I'm gonna share it with tons of people, because there's so much. I mean, I try to, in every song that I write, you know, sure, there's personal stuff, and there's stuff that I try to be funny with. But in a nutshell, addiction's one of the biggest things that we suffer with worldwide, but especially in our country. And so I try to, with my music, get that out there. So now that I'm learning this, I'm getting your book, because I definitely want to learn more about that.
I'm sending
I
it
mean,
to you. I'm sending it to you.
yes, thank you. I would most appreciate that. And yeah, I would love to come at a different angle, you know, with addiction too, because, you know, especially, you know, because you're right. I mean, even society they're dumbing us down, you know, and they do a lot of that. And you're right. And they may say, oh, you're just all a bunch of conspiracy theorists. No,
Not
this is
this.
truth. This is truth. There's a difference. Truth is killing us nowadays. We live in such a woke society, it's unreal. And we need to hear the truth. And we need, as you know, it's our job to get the truth out there. You know, well, this is just a temporary place that we're in. We're just passing through. We're all pilgrims passing through
That's
life,
right.
you know. But what are we in search of? We're in
Right.
search of truth,
That's right.
you know. And that's what I try to get out there in my music. So that's why I think that you and I were supposed to be together, because I want to start talking about that.
Wait, you should write a song about the truth of addiction.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes.
Title it that.
Start moving that
The
direction.
truth of addiction. Now, you figure
That's
out
right.
a perfect title, but yes.
Yes, for sure. I'm definitely going to make that a goal. I'm so glad this interview happened. You know, I really am.
So we have a
And I
couple.
hope everybody and their brother shares this, because a lot of people need to hear this.
Well, we have a couple minutes left. I want to thank you personally again, and give Andrea a hug from me, please. I love her.
We love you to death.
I want to thank you personally again. This was a great interview, and you know what? You always bring it to the table, man. You know, first of all, guys, his music is incredible. So, you know, he writes his music. His voice is off the charts, okay? The words are unbelievable. They have such meaning that everyone out there can resonate with. I don't care who you are, okay? So pass it along, please. Share this video. Get some of his music. Share it with people that you know will love it, okay? Please do that for me. Michael, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, our interviews are never over, okay? We're going to do another one down the road. I mean, they're never over. You know, you reach out,
they're
you know,
right.
you got it. What would you like to say to everyone out there to close with?
I would like to say that life is short. So constantly never give up. No matter what it is you're wanting to accomplish, you can do it. There's nothing that God put in front of us that is not reachable, you know? And our country's in such a bad situation because we've gone away from what love was meant to be. We're supposed to love each other. We're supposed to help each other. We're supposed to search for truth. We're supposed to lean on each other. And what is the world trying to make us do? They're trying to make us fight. Stop fighting. Give in to what you naturally want to do, and that's to be loved. So love to be loved. So I'm just saying, slow down, appreciate life because it's going to be gone before you know it. Thank you, Jerry.
You're right. Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Okay, guys, please, please, please share this show. Okay?
Yes.
To you and Angie, I love you guys. Doc G,
Love you.
take us out. Amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Geri Petito.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is it really true? Is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Geri Petito taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Love's the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.